Growing up there, I wouldn't say it was hard, not so well neighborhood, you know. I had a lot of fights. I seen a lot of stuff. It's Ohio, like just growing up there is so many shit just happened. I was getting chased by a lot of dogs in Ohio. It just made people laugh, like even in school, you know, I used to get in trouble. I was just a troll, really a class clown troll. Just for trolling, being a class clown, just like, you know, doing crazy stuff.
Most people think IShowSpeed won because he went viral. Well, that explanation is satisfying, simple, and completely wrong. It suggests that success arrives in a single moment. A lucky clip, a perfect algorithm push, a random stroke of fortune. But real momentum in the streaming world, it doesn't show up like that. It accumulates through relentless energy, through refusing to moderate yourself even when everyone says you should. Through understanding that authenticity at maximum volume beats perfectly calculated content every single time. Going viral didn't make Speed powerful. Going viral revealed how much raw energy he'd already been channeling for years. And when I say energy, I'm not talking about production value or professional setups. I'm talking about something far more valuable. Something most streamers can't manufacture no matter how hard they try. I'm talking about genuine, unfiltered, combustible enthusiasm. The kind that makes people watch not because the content is good, but because the person creating it is incapable of being boring. The kind that survives algorithm changes, platform shifts, and cultural trends. The kind that turns attention into global phenomena. And to understand that, well, you have to go back to before the millions of subscribers, before the world tours, before meeting Cristiano Ronaldo. You have to go back to 2016, back to Cincinnati, Ohio, back to a kid named Darren Watkins Jr., playing NBA 2K and Fortnite on YouTube with almost no viewers, posting videos into the void, hoping something would stick. Because that's where this really begins. Not with viral moments, not with stadium events, not even with Twitch. It begins with volume and velocity, with posting so much content so consistently that luck couldn't help but find him eventually. So in 2016, Speed wasn't building a brand. He was learning how energy translates through screens. That lesson is harder than it sounds. Most people don't understand that cameras flatten emotion. What feels like enthusiasm in person reads as normal on screen. What feels like excitement in the room disappears in the upload. To create energy that survives the camera, you need to operate at levels that feel insane in person. You need to scream when others would speak loudly. You need to jump when others would stand. You need to commit to bits so completely that you forget you're performing. And Speed learned that lesson faster than almost anyone. Early YouTube videos were total chaos, pure, unfiltered chaos. Speed playing games while screaming at his screen, raging at losses, celebrating wins like he'd won championships, getting so emotional about virtual basketball that seemed genuinely concerning. But that emotion was the point. The lack of filter was the product. People didn't watch because the gameplay was skilled. They watched because Speed made every moment feel like life or death, made every game feel like it mattered more than anything. And that intensity was magnetic, addictive, impossible to look away from. Now, most creators moderate themselves early. They're embarrassed by their own enthusiasm. They tone it down when people call them cringe. They worry about being too much. Well, Speed never had that problem. Or rather, he had that problem and decided it was everyone else's problem. He was too much, too loud, too energetic, too emotional, and instead of apologizing for it, he made it his entire identity. He understood something crucial. Better to be too much for some people than not enough for anyone. Now in 2018-2019, the grinding years, Speed is posting constantly. Multiple videos per day sometimes, streaming for hours, playing whatever's trending. Fortnite, NBA 2K, Minecraft, the format doesn't really matter. The game doesn't really matter. What matters is Speed's energy making every moment entertaining. Most of these videos get hundreds of views, maybe thousands. Nothing viral, nothing breakthrough, just steady accumulation, building muscle memory, learning what makes people click, what makes them stay, what makes them subscribe. And this is where most creators quit. They post for a year, maybe two, don't see exponential growth, get discouraged, decide it's not working, go back to normal life. Well, Speed didn't have that option, not because he'd burned bridges, but because this was who he was. The energy wasn't performance, it was personality. He couldn't turn it off, couldn't moderate it, couldn't pretend to be calm and calculated. So, what did he do? He kept posting, kept streaming, kept being himself at maximum volume, and slowly, very slowly, people started noticing. 2020, things start shifting. Speed's subscriber count starts climbing faster, not exploding just yet, but accelerating. 100,000 subscribers, then 200,000, then 500,000. The growth is happening because clips are spreading, not full videos, clips. Moments of Speed being so over the top that people have to share them. Him screaming at the screen, him celebrating, him raging, him crying over losses. These moments work as standalone content. They're funny, they're shocking, they're shareable. And every share brings people back to the channel, back to the full streams, back to more Speed. Now, the pandemic accelerates everything. Everyone's inside, everyone's watching content. Competition for attention is brutal, but consumption is unlimited. Speed is streaming daily, sometimes multiple times daily, building relationships with viewers one stream at a time. Chat becomes community, community becomes culture. People aren't just watching Speed play games, they're experiencing Speed's personality, his energy, his refusal to be anything other than completely himself. 2021, the breakthrough. Speed starts streaming on Twitch while still posting YouTube content. Dual platforms, maximum output. The Twitch streams are even more unhinged than YouTube videos. No editing, no cuts, just raw Speed for hours. And that rawness creates moments that editing could never manufacture. Speed barking at the camera, Speed dancing randomly, Speed having genuine emotional meltdowns over games, Speed calling random people, Speed doing whatever pops into his head with zero filter. And that spontaneity, that creates must-watch content. Because if you miss the stream, you miss the moment. And those moments are spreading everywhere. And then comes the moment that changes everything. Speed gets banned from Twitch, April 2021. Banned for sexist remarks during a stream. Permanent ban. Now, for most streamers, this would be catastrophic. Twitch is the streaming platform. Getting permanently banned means losing your primary revenue stream, losing your community, starting over somewhere else. But Speed, he doesn't panic. He doesn't apologize and beg for reinstatement. He doesn't try to moderate himself for another platform. He goes all in on YouTube. And that decision, forced by circumstance of course, becomes his greatest advantage. Because YouTube's algorithm is different from Twitch's. Twitch rewards live viewership. You're either streaming or you're not visible. Well, YouTube rewards evergreen content. Videos that keep generating views long after upload. So Speed's energy works perfectly for YouTube. His clips have permanent value. A rage compilation from 2021 can go viral in 2024. A celebration from an old stream can become a meme at any moment, really. YouTube's algorithm starts pushing Speed's content everywhere. Recommended videos, suggested content, homepage features, and the growth explodes. 2022. Speed crosses 10 million subscribers. So the momentum is undeniable now. He's not just a gaming streamer anymore, he's a phenomenon. Other creators want to collaborate, celebrities are noticing, athletes are watching. But Speed doesn't change his approach. He doesn't try to become more professional or polished, and he doesn't hire a team to manage his image. He just keeps being Speed at maximum volume. He keeps streaming with the same energy he had at 1,000 subscribers. And that consistency, that's everything. Because the audience doesn't want a different Speed, they want the same Speed, just more of it. And the content diversifies organically. Speed still plays games, but now he's also doing IRL streams, meeting fans, traveling, creating content outside his room, and his energy translates perfectly to IRL. He's not awkward on camera in public, he's exactly the same. Screaming, running, jumping, making every moment an event. And that consistency across contexts prove the energy is real. Not manufactured for gaming content, it's just who he is. So, July 2022. Speed's eye becomes inflamed during a stream, visibly swollen, clearly very painful. He keeps streaming anyway. The situation gets worse, the swelling increases, and Chat starts getting genuinely concerned. People are telling him to stop streaming and go to the hospital. But Speed, he keeps going. Keeps entertaining, keeps pushing. Finally, he goes to the hospital, gets treated, turns the entire medical emergency into content. And that incident reveals something important. Speed's commitment to the content, to the community, to showing up no matter what. But it also reveals the danger, the risk of operating at maximum capacity constantly, of never moderating, of never pulling back, of never taking breaks. Speed is burning energy at an unsustainable rate. And the question becomes, can anyone maintain this intensity long term, or is this a sprint that has to end eventually? Well, Speed's answer is to keep on sprinting. 2023, he starts traveling internationally, creating content across the world. Norway, Japan, Australia, Southeast Asia. Every location becomes an event. Every stream in a new country pulls massive numbers. Because Speed makes travel content that nobody else makes. He's not doing calm vlogs or thoughtful explorations. He's screaming at landmarks, racing strangers, making chaos in foreign countries, creating the same energy internationally that he created in his bedroom. That adaptability is crucial. That proof that the energy isn't content-specific, it's speed-specific. The international streams do something else. They prove Speed's appeal is global. Language barriers don't matter. Cultural differences don't matter. Energy transcends translation. People in countries where they don't speak English watch Speed because his emotion is universal. His enthusiasm needs no interpretation. And that global appeal opens massive opportunities. Brand deals, international events, global platform growth. August 2023. Speed meets Cristiano Ronaldo. Not as a fan who won a contest, as a creator who's earned celebrity attention. The meeting is pure Speed. He's nervous, excited, emotional, nearly crying. Completely, of course, unfiltered. And the clip goes absolutely viral. Hundreds of millions of views. Because it's genuine. You can't fake that level of emotion. You can't manufacture that reaction. It's real. And real emotion at that intensity creates moments people share. It creates moments people remember. It creates moments that expand your reach beyond your existing audience. So the Ronaldo meeting validates everything. Speed isn't just a gaming streamer anymore, he's a cultural figure. Someone global superstars want to meet, someone athletes follow, someone who's transcended his original category. And he's not trying to be respectable or professional or polished, he's succeeding by being more himself than anyone really thought possible. By late 2023, Speed is one of the biggest creators on YouTube. Over 20 million subscribers, streams regularly pulling hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers, and clips generating hundreds of millions of views. Brand deals flowing in, international recognition. He's achieved something that seemed impossible, building a massive global platform by refusing to moderate his energy even slightly, by being too much, always without apology. But the question remains, what happens next? Well, Speed is still young, early 20s in fact, still growing, still building. But the pace is relentless, the energy expenditure is extreme. The pressure to maintain this level of intensity is absolutely enormous. Can he sustain this? Should he even try? Or is there a different path forward that doesn't require operating at maximum volume every single moment? 2024. Speed continues evolving. He starts streaming sports analysis, watching games with the same energy he brings to playing games, reacting to soccer matches like his life depends on the outcome. And that format works brilliantly because sports already have built-in drama, already have stakes. Speed just amplifies everything, makes every goal feel like the most important moment in history, makes every loss feel devastating, makes every win feel euphoric. It's perfect content marriage. Existing drama plus Speed's energy equals must-watch streams. Now, the sports content also creates new opportunities. Athletes start appearing on his streams. Players start recognizing him. Teams start inviting him to games. Speed is becoming part of sports media, not traditional sports media, something new, something more authentic, something younger audiences actually want to watch. He's not trying to be an analyst. He's being a fan. the most enthusiastic fan possible, and that authenticity resonates with people tired of polished corporate sports coverage. January 2025, Speed has over 25 million subscribers. He's streaming to massive audiences regularly, creating content that generates billions of views across platforms, making significant money through ad revenue, sponsors, and merchandise. He's built an empire through pure energy, through refusing to be anything other than himself at maximum intensity, through understanding that consistency at that level compounds into something nobody can replicate. And the criticism persists. People call him cringe, they call him too much, they call him annoying, they call him a bad influence, saying he encourages kids to be loud and obnoxious. But Speed, he doesn't care. He can't care, because moderating himself to please critics means losing the thing that made him successful in the first place. It means betraying the audience that showed up for unfiltered Speed. It means becoming someone else. And becoming someone else is not an option when being yourself is working this well. Now, this is the fundamental difference between Speed's path and most creators' paths. Most creators try to broaden appeal by moderating their edges, by becoming more palatable to larger audiences. Well, Speed did the opposite. He sharpened his edges. He became more himself, more intense, more unfiltered, and discovered that going all in on authenticity attracts a smaller percentage of total audience, but creates deeper loyalty. It creates a community that funds everything. It creates infrastructure that survives trends. And the numbers prove that the strategy works. Speed isn't the biggest creator on YouTube, but he might be one of the most engaged. His viewers don't just watch, they participate. They show up live, they clip moments, they share content, they create memes, they spread his content organically. And that engagement is more valuable than raw subscriber counts, because engagement converts, engagement funds, and engagement sustains. Now, looking at Speed's trajectory, the pattern is clear. He didn't have one viral moment that launched him. He had thousands of moments that accumulated. He didn't stumble into success, he manufactured it through sheer volume of content and consistency of energy. And he didn't get lucky with the algorithm. He created so much content that the algorithm couldn't help but notice. Now that's not luck. That's systematic building. That's infrastructure creation. That is leverage. And the lesson isn't that everyone should scream at cameras. The lesson is that authenticity at maximum intensity beats calculated content. That refusing to moderate yourself creates more loyal audiences than trying to appeal to everyone. And that consistency compounds regardless of individual video performance. That energy is a renewable resource if it's genuinely who you are. And Speed proved all of that. He proved it works, he proved it scales, and he proved it sustains. So, by early 2025, Speed represents something important in creator economy. He's proof that you don't need to be professional. You don't need expensive production. You don't need careful brand management. You don't need to say the right things or please the right people. You just need to be genuinely yourself. You need to show up consistently. You need to give people a reason to care that transcends any individual piece of content. You need to build relationships instead of just audiences. And most people think IShowSpeed won because he went viral. Well, now you understand better. He won because he posted thousands of videos before anyone noticed. He won because he refused to moderate his energy even when everyone said he should. And he won because he treated every stream like it mattered regardless of viewer count. He won because he understood that consistency at maximum intensity creates compound growth that looks like overnight success to people who weren't watching the whole time. So the streaming world keeps changing. Platforms rise and fall, algorithms update constantly, trends come and go. But Speed's model, pure, authentic energy delivered consistently, well, that's platform independent. That works on Twitch until it doesn't, and then it works on YouTube. And that works in gaming until it doesn't, then works in sports content. That works locally until it doesn't, and then works globally. Because energy is universal. Authenticity transcends platforms, and consistency compounds regardless of context. Speed's still building, he's still streaming, he's still creating the same content he created at 1,000 subscribers, just for millions instead. He's still refusing to moderate himself. He's still operating at maximum volume. He's still proving that the thing everyone said wouldn't work long term keeps on working. Now that's leverage. That's power. That's what 6 years of relentless consistency creates. And the machine, of course, is still running. It's still growing. It's still converting energy into empire. And that is the real story. This is Attention to Leverage. Subscribe for more.